check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys.
You know that feeling when you discover a new song that instantly sticks with you? One that you listen to repeatedly and hum throughout the day? In the classroom, in the meeting room, or even when you go to bed. You get what I'm talking about, right? Good. Now take that song and replace it with this.
Patapon. Pum pum patapon.
This is pretty much the experience of someone who has newly discovered Patapon. Originally released on the PSP, Patapon was unlike anything on the now legendary handheld or anything else for that matter. But as great as Patapon was, it was the sequel that made me sing that catchy tune wherever I was, not caring about the world around me. It was a weird time. Let's take a trip down memory lane with Patapon 2. While the original Patapon was something new and refreshing, Patapon 2 brought a fresh wave of rhythm and strategy alongside familiar foes and levels. The developer of the game, Pyramid, and Japan Studio built upon its predecessor with more extensive customization options and an engaging yet silly narrative. There were also these hero Patapons. You could create and customize your hero Patapon who had various abilities, and this added a lot of depth to the strategic aspect of the game. The game's 2D sprites and vibrant colors created a visually appealing world that is both whimsical and immersive, despite its very minimalistic nature. The character designs, from those OG Patapons to the various enemies and bosses, just added to the game's overall charm. The use of limited color palettes contributes to the game's unique aesthetic, so the moment one sees the game, they go, yep, that's Patapon alright. Patapon 2's gameplay remained centered around those rhythm-based commands, where you control an army of Patapons using drum beats to execute actions. Just replaying this game now for the sake of this video reminded me of how challenging and rewarding it was back then. It takes a while to master the different drum beats for movement, attack and defense, especially for those who resort to mashing buttons when under pressure. The story in Patapon is delivered through charming visual storytelling and the unique Patapon language. It is as silly as video game stories come, but the progression is well paced, with new units, equipment and challenges gradually introduced to keep the player engaged throughout the campaign. The backbone of the game is undoubtedly its music. I remember buying a headphone for my PSP back then just to get lost in its catchy tunes. They not only complemented the gameplay perfectly, but also made the game more immersive by creating a connection between the player and the Patapon tribe. Oh, and there was also a multiplayer mode that allowed players to team up with friends for cooperative missions, but that was not what you bought the game for. Although, if you found yourself a friend with the PSP, it was totally worth the time. Hi-Fi Rush may be the game that may come to people's mind today when someone mentions a rhythm action game, but Patapon on the PSP was the OG of rhythm games. Japan Studio have always given us something new and unique, and they do so to this day. But for me, Patapon 2 was them at their absolute best. No offense to Ape Escape or Astrobot. Patapon 2 was a game for all ages. An absolute triumph in combining rhythm and strategy genres. Its charming art style, rhythmic gameplay, and memorable music created a game that stands the test of time to this day. If you have a PS5 or a PS4, there is a remastered version of this game available, and I strongly recommend checking it out. Although I don't want to be held accountable if you do the Patapon chat during your office meeting. And that was our trip down memory lane with Patapon 2. So, have you ever played this game? If so, share your experience with us in the comments down below. Until then, I'm Ishaq and this video was brought to you by IXI. You take care, stay safe and keep gaming.